Hello everyone, and welcome to Learn English with Cedric. I'm so happy you're here. Today's episode is about one of the biggest sporting events on Earth, the FIFA World Cup. Even if you're not a football fan, I think you'll enjoy today's story because the World Cup is full of drama, surprises, heroes, and unforgettable moments. As you listen, try to notice new vocabulary, expressions, and pronunciation. So, are you ready? Let's begin. Imagine this. More than 5 billion people around the world stop what they're doing to watch the same event. Families gather together. Friends wear their country's colors. People celebrate in the streets. Some cry with happiness. Others cry because their team has lost. This incredible event is the FIFA World Cup. But where did it all begin? Let's travel back in time. The first FIFA World Cup took place in 1930. The host country was Uruguay. Only 13 teams participated. Today, that number seems very small, but at the time, it was a huge achievement. Traveling across the ocean was expensive and difficult. Many European teams decided not to come because the journey by ship took several weeks. Uruguay eventually became the first World Cup champion after defeating Argentina in the final. No one knew it then, but history had just begun. The World Cup quickly became more popular. However, there was one big problem. World War II. Because of the war, there was no World Cup in 1942 or 1946. The tournament returned in 1950, and football fans could finally celebrate again. That World Cup produced one of the biggest surprises in football history. Brazil hosted the tournament and expected to become champions. Almost everyone believed Brazil would win. Thousands of newspapers had already celebrated their victory before the final match was even played. But football can be unpredictable. Uruguay shocked the world by defeating Brazil in front of nearly 200,000 fans. The stadium became completely silent. That match is still remembered today as one of the greatest upsets in sports history. Now let's talk about a player who changed football forever. His name was Pelé. He was only 17 years old when he played in the 1958 World Cup. Can you imagine that? At an age when many teenagers are still in school, Pelé became a world champion. He scored incredible goals and amazed everyone with his talent. Over his career, Pelé won 3 World Cups. No other player has ever achieved that. Even today, many people believe he is one of the greatest football players of all time. Of course, every generation has its superstar. In the 1980s, the football world belonged to Diego Maradona. During the 1986 World Cup in Mexico, he produced one of the greatest performances ever seen. He scored 2 famous goals against England. One became known as the Hand of God. The other was called the Goal of the Century. In that second goal, Maradona dribbled past several defenders before scoring. People still watch that goal today because it is simply magical. Football has also given us unforgettable surprises. Did you know that in 2002, South Korea reached the semifinals? Almost nobody expected that. The home fans created an amazing atmosphere. The entire country seemed to believe that anything was possible. That is one of the reasons people love the World Cup. Every tournament creates a new story. Sometimes the smallest teams defeat the biggest favorites. Speaking of surprises, let's talk about one of the greatest underdog stories ever. In 2022, Morocco made history. They became the first African country to reach the World Cup semifinals. Millions of people across Africa and the Arab world celebrated together. Their success inspired young football players everywhere. It showed that dreams really can come true. Another reason the World Cup is so special is because it introduces us to new heroes. Some players arrive as unknown teenagers. A few weeks later, the entire world knows their names. Think about Kylian Mbappé. In 2018, he was only 19 years old. His incredible speed and confidence helped France win the World Cup. Suddenly, he became one of the biggest stars in football. And then there is Lionel Messi. For many years, people asked one question. Would Messi ever win the World Cup? He had won almost everything in football except the biggest prize. Finally, in 2022, his dream came true. Argentina became world champions after an unforgettable final against France. Many people describe it as one of the greatest football matches ever played. Messi lifted the World Cup trophy, and millions of fans celebrated with him. Sometimes, dreams take many years to become reality. Here is another interesting fact. The World Cup trophy itself has an exciting history. The original trophy was called the Jules Rimet Trophy. It was actually stolen, not once but twice. In England, before the 1966 World Cup, the trophy disappeared. Luckily, a dog named Pickles found it wrapped in newspaper under a bush. Can you believe that? A little dog became a national hero. Years later, the original trophy disappeared forever after being stolen again in Brazil. The trophy used today is a different one. Today, the World Cup is much bigger than football. It brings together different cultures, languages, and traditions. Fans travel from every corner of the world. People sing together. They dance together. Sometimes they don't even speak the same language, but they understand one thing: the love of football. So why do billions of people love the World Cup? Because it reminds us that anything can happen. A small team can beat a giant. A young player can become a legend. One goal can change history. And one unforgettable moment can stay in our hearts forever. That is the magic of the FIFA World Cup. Before we finish, let's learn 5 useful English words from today's episode. Achievement, something you succeed in doing after hard work. Example, winning the World Cup is a great achievement. Upset, an unexpected victory. Example, the match was a huge upset. Champion, the winner of competition. Example, Argentina became world champions. Tournament, a series of competitions. Example, the World Cup is the biggest football tournament. Inspire, to encourage someone to do something. Example, Morocco inspired millions of young players. And now it's your turn. Which World Cup moment is your favorite? Which country do you hope will win the next World Cup? Write your answer in the comments below. I'd love to read your opinions. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Learn English with Cedric, and share this podcast with a friend who wants to improve their English. Thank you so much for listening. Keep learning, keep practicing, and remember, every new English word brings you one step closer to fluency. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.